Welcome back to another Southside Hood classic. In this video, I will be discussing the story of Brandon John Valdez. Brandon was born on December 1985. Now me personally, I know this fool. He used to walk through BBH territory all the time on his way home from East Whittier Middle School. And I would always see him running up on banged out fools. Anybody that was gang banged the fuck out, he would run up on them and bang on them. He was an active youngster for his barrio at that time. I want to say this was around 2004, 2005. Brandon was what you call a real cholo, real gangbanger from his barrio. Homie used to go into Brown Brotherhood territory and bust drive-bys in his ops barrio. Never hit his targets though, but he did put in work for WVLS. He did what you're supposed to do when you commit your life to your barrio. It's a lifetime commitment. And he's now paying the price for all his crimes up in the California justice system. I'ma break down Whittier Varrio Locos as enemies. Enemies of WVLS. Whittier Brown Brotherhood. Southside Whittier. VNE. Jardín 13. Whittier Dead Locos. Rivera 13. Westside Headhunters. Gymtown. To name a few. Members of Whittier Varrio Locos, Lil Scrappy, Pequeños Click, Travi Loke. Most of you might remember Travi from Charlie Roll Campo, with Chino Grande and them. Pirate, who's by the way resting in peace. Scooby, Black Angels Click. Scooby was also one of Whittier Varrio Locos' most notorious hitters. Their most notorious hitter. This fool used to pump so much fear into all of his opposition. I remember running into Scooby in LA County Jail and Wayside back in 2006 when them rayetas was kicking off. Homie was with the function. He had his placazo all throughout the 1,000 floor, 2,000 floor, 3,000 floor, 4,000 floor. Gang module. Everywhere you look, you see Scooby, WVLS. There's a little brief history on Whittier Varrio Locos. Now we're gonna get into the story y'all came to see. The murder of Daniel Quijada, aka Danny Boy, a married father of 4 in broad daylight last month, has touched a nerve in Whittier. The killing, which took place in what Whittier police officials call the city's safety zone, still has a community on edge. Several people in the neighborhood approached this week refused to discuss the incident for fear of retaliation. Police officials insist. However, there has been progress since Whittier was granted a gang injunction against Whittier Varrio Locos about 17 months ago. In January 2008, the city gained permission from a judge to create the injunction, which prohibits gang members from doing 22 activities associated with gangs. It stretches from Whittier Boulevard north to Beverly Boulevard and from Pickering Avenue east to Painter Avenue. The civil order bans gang members from 22 activities found to be associated with the Whittier Varrio Locos gang, such as being out past 10 p.m., loitering, blocking sidewalks, or making loud noise. The gang has been around since the late 1960s and was at one time Whittier's largest gang, police say. Since the injunction was approved, there has been one murder, said Whittier Police Sergeant Kent Miller, and most of the gang members have moved, he said. We can happily say most no longer live there or have come back. Still, the murder of Quijada has renewed fear of the gang. More than 2 weeks after the slaying of the father of 4, residents in the area of Hadley Street and Milton Avenue are reticent to talk. Most of the neighborhood didn't answer their doors last week. Those who did declined to discuss the killing. The reason could be the area's history. Despite its relatively new safety zone status, the area where Quijada was killed is one of the most violent in the city. In 2005, one man was stabbed to death there. The same year, a 17-year-old boy was shot to death. In 2008, A man was stabbed to death after he tried to stop a tagger. Such cases of violence are the reason for the injunction. Before they could get the injunction approved, officers spent 2 years collecting evidence against 40 men and women they wanted to include in the injunction. Those names have gang monikers such as Temper, Lil Spider, Shadow, and Scooby. It was not something we took lightly in supporting, said Mayor Bob Henderson. A gang injunction is very serious business. But he said the police department presented the council with compelling evidence for the need. We were cautious because we didn't want to create an environment of harassment, Henderson said. The department is not out to bother people minding their own business, Miller said. It doesn't say they can't live there, Miller said, but they cannot act, engage, or perform directly or indirectly any of the 22 activities. In the past 17 months, there have been 9 violent incidents such as robberies and the 1 gang murder. Quijada's death was gang-related, Miller said. And investigators are making headway cracking the case. Police are working very hard investigating the young man's death, Henderson said, referring to Quijada's murder. Despite the very public, very violent murder of Quijada, he was killed in front of nearly a dozen children. Miller said the injunction is working. We cannot say we've purged the area, but we're not seeing anyone claiming that area anymore. Miller said it's neutralized. 22 activities forbidden by Uptown Whittier gang injunction. Associating with gang members, being around drugs, blocking the public's access, trespassing, staying out past 10 p.m., acting as lookouts, reckless driving, lying to police, intimidation, having alcohol in public, having weapons, having tools for graffiti, loitering, using a phone in violation of court order, wearing gang apparel, throwing up gang signs, making loud noises, fighting, signaling people to buy drugs, having burglary tools, littering, disobeying laws. Here's some facts about the murder. Defendant was charged with first-degree murder and possession of a firearm by a felon. He also got hit with a prior prison term. Gun use and gang enhancements were also alleged. He was convicted on both counts. He was sentenced to 50 years to life in prison on the murder charge of Danny Boy, comprised of 25 years to life for first-degree murder, plus a consecutive 25 years for the gun use enhancement. On August 29, 2017, at 7:29 in the morning, in Norwalk Court, known gang member Brandon John Valdez is scheduled to be sentenced today at Norwalk Superior Court in the murder of a 30-year-old man in Uptown Whittier in May 2009. A jury found him guilty of the first-degree murder of Daniel Quijada, aka Danny Boy, along with discharge of a handgun to commit the crime, and that it was done for the benefit of a criminal street gang. Whittier Varrio Locos. Valdez, 27 years old, faces 50 years to life, Deputy District Attorney Brock Lunsford said. According to court testimony, Quijada was killed because he supposedly was engaged in activities not sanctioned by the gang in control of the area, he explained. Valdez was already in custody for violating parole when Whittier police arrested him in March 2010 for the shooting of Quijada of Whittier. Quijada, the father of 5, had just left his apartment in the 6300 block of Milton Avenue when he was gunned down outside his building as children played nearby. Members of the Whittier Varrio Locos gang can't hang around with fellow gangsters, throw up gang signs, stay out past 10 p.m., or loiter in a certain part of Whittier. A gang injunction which became permanent in January 2008 designated the area bordered by Painter Avenue to the east, Beverly Boulevard to the north, Pickering Avenue to the west and Whittier Boulevard to the south as a gang enforcement safety zone. Whittier Varrio Locos claims that area as its territory. A similar safety zone exists in neighboring cities like Montebello, where a gang injunction has been in place since 2005 against the Southside Montebello gang, SSM. Police departments from both cities say the injunction is a factor in reducing crime, along with parole and probation compliance checks. They use the injunction as a tool in dealing with gangs. A safety zone doesn't ban gang members from the area, but restricts what they can and cannot do while there. And that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed these Varrio Hood classics, let me know down in the comment section what story y'all want me to do on the next Varrio. If y'all got a crazy story to tell about your hood from the past, I'm gonna drop my email in the description. Email me your story and I'll talk about it.